Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action with MyBookie.net. MyBookie has real Vegas odds and incredible player props for all your favorite sporting events. MyBookie offers in-game live action on all pro and college football games. There's no better time to join MyBookie than today. Pull out your smartphone and visit our user-friendly mobile site for adrenaline on demand. Open your browser and type in MyBookie. What are you waiting for? Call 844-722-2387 or go online to join MyBookie today. No deposit necessary. Terms and conditions apply. Play for fun only. Void where prohibited.
Attention all sports bettors. FSN Info is the perfect place for you to make money today. They've just released another blowout winner, and it's available right now absolutely free on SBTVNation.com. FSN Info has 5 of the best experts in the world, known as the Top 5 Inner Circle. With over 100 years of combined experience, their winning percentages are unmatched by anyone in the industry. This is the information the Las Vegas sportsbooks do not want you to have. Go to SBTVNation.com right now and click on Free Winner for your free blowout winner today.
Have a product, service, or website to advertise on the biggest show in the world? The SBTV Nation podcast reaches tens of thousands of the best sports fans on the planet in over 194 countries worldwide. Take your business to the next level by advertising with us. Call us now at 872-529-SBTV or email us at sbtvnation@gmail.com.
Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the It Factor, blessing the airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
the biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world. The SBTV Nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Monday to you. This is Rob the Mad Hatter. You are listening to the SBTV Nation, and I am happy to have my boy on the line, my man, The Dream. What's going on, kid? New week for us.
Ouch!
The dogs were barking and biting yesterday.
A little bit of stinging up in the house yesterday. A little bit of stinging up in the house as we had quite a few surprises.
Oh, big time. Big time. All the doggies were going crazy. At 1 o'clock, Dream, I believe that it was I believe only 2 favorites covered. The rest of them were all underdogs.
Listen, I'm not even about the dog, the favorite. Whatever with that, okay? My thing is, I saw some football yesterday where you didn't just have turnovers. You had turnovers. Yesterday's theme was turnovers for touchdowns and missed kicks.
Yeah, exactly.
Be it the field goals or the extra points. I just saw some of the worst execution I've seen in a long time. Like, on every channel, like every game I went to, I'm like, okay, let me stop here for a minute. And I'm sitting there looking at the TV incredulous. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like, what are they doing?
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal to watch. But, a couple of things materialized yesterday, and we're going to talk about what went down yesterday. This first segment, what we're going to do is go right through it and have a conversation. But before we do that, Dream, golfing legend Arnold Palmer dies at age 87.
Yeah, I know. News broke last night during the Cowboy game. It was a sad moment, obviously. A legend in his sport, a great gentleman, and he will be missed.
Exactly. So a couple of other storylines. Les Miles is out of LSU, Dream. Got fired after 4 games.
And don't feel bad about Les, because he is leaving with the pocketbook dead right.
Dead right, and he is going to probably be somewhere at some other program like tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe he'll take the rest of the year off and then start next year. What do you think?
I don't know about tomorrow. I don't know about next year. I do think he will coach again. He'll probably, like you said, go in the booth for a minute or show up around bowl time, to commentate or talk about a game or maybe get, inside the booth or on the desk, whatever. as far as the teams are out there that are concerned, he's had a little bit of a track record now so far, and it hasn't been like the greatest one. So I don't necessarily know somebody's going to immediately scratch him up, but I do think he will coach if that's what he wants to do. He will probably find himself or land somewhere else in college football. However, I don't think it's going to be a top 25 team spot necessarily.
You don't think so, huh?
I don't have that's my opinion, obviously, but no, I don't think a top 25 or at least a top 15 school is going to take a chance on Les Miles. I think he's going to have to probably go a little bit back, go down, maybe a little B tier type school, get some wins there and build that program up before another major program is going to want to look at him.
If it were me and if I was a decision maker in an SEC team that is really struggling, that's probably who I would bring in, considering the fact that, he knows all the weaknesses of my program and obviously knows the ins and out of the LSU program. So maybe a team like Mississippi State. There you go.
Yeah, but
that might be a very, very good spot for him.
I know. I hear what you're saying, though. I definitely hear what you're saying. I don't think he's going to land in the SEC personally, but, we'll have to see. Stranger things have happened. To be honest with you, I would want to say right now the top coach out there hanging out that teams should be looking at but are maybe a little bit leery of is definitely, Art Briles.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, definitely. So going over to the NFL, let's have a conversation of what materialized yesterday, Dream. I'm just going to kick it off with
the NFL should be looking for a bunch of coaches.
Yeah, exactly. The NFL, right. Buffalo Bills get it done over Bruce Arians and the Arizona Cardinals.
This Arizona team, I got to tell you something about them. I watched them a little bit. I didn't watch this game in depth. It wasn't one of my favorite games of the day. I did think, obviously, Arizona was going to kill the Bills because they should have, according to the reports. One thing about Arizona, though, and I did notice this, I think, last season, it's like if they can't get that deep ball popping, they I don't know, they just panic or just don't. They can't do anything else. They can't say to themselves, okay, guys, the long ball isn't falling, so we're going to have to dink and dunk our way into this or get the running game going or establish some other things. It's like they just keep saying, oh, no, we're going to get it going. Oh, no, we're going to get it going. Oh, we're just going to keep throwing it. And what they kept doing was throwing interceptions.
Well, definitely. Carson Palmer had 4 interceptions and obviously got overshadowed by Ryan Fitzpatrick's performance, but we'll get into that momentarily. But when I was watching the Red Zone, they were saying that basically Arizona didn't have a first down until the second quarter.
Dude, it was crazy. Every pass they want, Carson takes is at least 20. He's like the exact opposite of Kansas City, where every pass he takes is at least 20 or more yards. And then sometimes his throwing, I know he's an incredible thrower and very accurate, but even he has to back away from some of the defenses where you've got over-the-top safety help. Trying to put that ball in that little tight window, man, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So moving on to the rest of it, Dream, my Miami Dolphins stink.
Well, we knew that, and that was definitely talked about, on the show yesterday with you.
I can't believe they did. Even Tannehill came out and said they didn't deserve to win the game.
And they did not. And Cleve, you know what, Cleve? You just can't. Cleve, they can't get out of their own way. Their kicker gets hurt in practice. Don't ask me doing what.
A kicker gets hurt in practice. That doesn't even sound right.
And they got to sign the guy that they bring in to kick. Cleve, you cannot make it up with Cleveland. You just cannot make up the Cleveland Browns situation. It is like the kindergarten class at my son's school got together and decided to start a football team, and it is the Cleveland Browns.
Well, you know what? I got to be honest with you. Terrell Pryor looked pretty good out there. He's an athletic guy.
Great. He did everything.
Yeah, he did everything. Took the whole team on his back.
But they didn't look that putrid offensively. For them to lose that game, that's a heartbreaker. It's a game that they probably should have won had they made the kick. Why your kicker gets hurt now? See, here's my thing. Their kicker gets hurt. So instead of them bringing in a seasoned good kicker, like there is a guy named Robbie Gould just sitting right now, just got cut at the beginning of the season by the Chicago Bears because he made too much money. You think Cleveland will go get him? Because we know how successful Gould is.
Yeah, good point.
No. Cleve, no. We're not going to go get him. We're going to go get this guy.
Moving on. And you know what? I don't know. Did you see the last touchdown in overtime by the Miami Dolphins?
I did.
Okay. Did it seem to me that Cleveland just kind of gave up when he was like halfway down when he was passing like the 5-yard line? Just seemed like they just stopped. They just started walking towards him, just let him score almost. It was kind of weird. Almost like they just knew that they were going to lose.
Hey, but I think he was just like, his speed and he was not going to be stopped and the determination. But there might have been a give up. You might be right there.
All right. So looking at the rest of it, Dream, the Packers were going bananas on the Lions. Let them come storming all the way back. And you know what? The Lions actually covered the spread if you got 7.5. Green Bay did not cover.
If you got 7.5, Green Bay did not cover, which they should have covered the game. I don't want to hear about Green Bay not being good because Green Bay is good. The New England Patriots did the same thing against the Miami Dolphins week 1. So fall back with, the Packers gave up a big lead. The Patriots did the same thing. So I don't want to hear that. They went out there and they beat up on Detroit. And then I don't know what happened, but they probably got in that, falling back, prevent, whatever they do in that second half. I don't know why they don't keep the intensity up and keep trying to stomp the team down, but we've seen it a couple times in the NFL. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is back. Jordy Nelson was catching his balls. The Packers are able to move, so we could fall back on that. And if you had it at 7.5, that's dumb because we already talked about buying it down to under a touchdown. So I know none of the SPT Nation had this game at 7.5.
Right. The Broncos surprised the hell out of me, man. They went into Cincinnati and won. Trevor Siemian, 312 yards, 4 touchdowns, Dream, on Cincinnati's defense. Maybe Cincinnati's kind of falling off.
You're the only one that was, well, not you're the only one, but when we talked on the show, I told you that, one, I told you the Broncos were good. Yeah. 2, I told you that the Broncos are a defensively sound team, and for that reason, they travel a lot, but they travel better than teams that look, to get their offense going. The other thing about the Cincinnati Bengals, we've always discussed their inability on offense. Their offense just sputters at times. And once again, we saw this, you add a sputtering offense and then you implement a very, very good defense, which the Broncos have, and you come out with this outcome. I was not surprised at this at all. I think the way that the Broncos did it might have been a little surprised. Like, I wasn't surprised the Broncos won. The way they won, though, as far as their offense is concerned, was a little bit surprising to me. However, I still thought the Broncos had a fighter's chance in that game.
Well, Bengals are 1-2 right now, 0-1 at home, and Thursday night they have to face the Miami Dolphins. So that's going to be a pretty ugly game to watch, I think. But moving on here, the Carolina Panthers lose to the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota, the defense, Dream, seems like to be the real deal.
Well, they are practicing a new dance. It is called the Sack Cam Newton, featuring Cam Newton out there. Yeah. And we'll see if he'll do that as his next end zone dance. And listen, Carolina, and I'm going back to last year, and you know this because I talked about it a lot. I never liked this team. I never liked their offense. I know that I liked them yesterday. I thought they would win yesterday. I liked them against the Denver Broncos because I had to say to myself last year, all right, dude, you got to stop being bullheaded and stubborn with this team, and they're winning. So you're going to have to at some point embrace the facts that they are able to win. But I just never liked their offense, and it's not about Cam Newton because I think Cam Newton is, one of the best quarterbacks in the game. But he is surrounded by a bunch of nobodies. When your best player is your tight end in this offense, I just hate the way this offense looks like. Cam grabs the ball and says, hey, you go deep, you go short, and run across the middle, and I'll find you. Hike. You know what I'm saying? That's what this offense has always felt like to me. I'm even going back to last year at spots, because you remember, I always talked to you, but I did not like this offense. And now all of a sudden, we're starting to see this offense just not be able to execute. I do think a big part of it is not having a very solid and consistent run game, and just some of the things that were developing last year for them are just not developing. And over to the Vikings side, great defensive game yesterday for the Vikings. The Vikings are playing really good defense. I'm still not sold on their offense.
No, I'm not. They're 3-0 though.
I know. How?
And 76% of the teams that go 3-0 end up making the playoffs, Dream.
Well, so they were in the playoffs last year, so I'm not surprised they'll make the playoffs. I just don't feel that this team is good offensively.
I get it. So moving on to the New York Giants in the NFC East, they lose the game to the Washington Redskins. Redskins put up 29 points in that game, Dream.
Giants shot themselves in the foot. This is another one. Eli Manning threw an interception in the end zone that probably would have put this game away. The Giants, Eli turned the ball over yesterday in some very, very bad spots. They almost were able to overcome the majority at. Vereen fumbles, a couple sloppy plays really turned this game into the other, in the other direction. Hats off to the Redskins and what they were doing, but I mean, what were you supposed to do? You're 0-2, so yeah, they should have been hungry and tried to get a win out there, which they did. But the Giants had an opportunity in this game, when they were up a bit, to really get a handle and put it away, and they didn't. They let Deshaun Jackson beat them through the air, and a couple other things, went on in this game. And Eli, bad interceptions for them. This one is not a pretty loss, but the Giants are only 2-1, so we can't go too crazy.
All right, and just real quick, guys, we're going to get into the rest of the games. This segment's brought to you by FSN Info. Visit our website, sbtvnation.com. Click the banner for full access to their picks for tonight's game. All right, Dream, so moving on here, the Rams get it done, and they are 2-1, the LA Rams, under Jeff Fishbone, and go into Tampa Bay and get the job done.
Here we go again. Turnovers for touchdown. Jameis Winston in the red zone, or at least on the 30, gets the ball knocked out of his hand, ran back for a touchdown. That completely cost him this game in this spot. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers weren't as sharp defensively as I expected them to be. They allowed the Rams to execute on third down. The Rams picked up a few third downs that I thought Tampa Bay should have been a little bit better prepared for in this situation. Jameis at times looks incredible, and at times it's like he needs glasses. There's sometimes when he misses guys that are like right in front of him that almost is like, hey, did you not see him? You that's what you're wondering as you're watching, because at the first time you figure, okay, he was off, whatever, but nobody around him, no pressure on him. There's a guy in front of him that's kind of open, and Jameis just like misses him. I was lost with that a couple of times. This game was a surprise for me. I did not expect this to happen for Tampa Bay. Maybe Tampa Bay has not made that next step that I thought that they may have made. Good game for the Rams. The Rams still are dusty, though.
And you know what? One of the touchdowns that famous Jameis threw, he just kind of lofted it in the air. And I was like, oh, that one's a problem. And sure enough, his receiver was there by himself, just kind of jumped up in the air. I don't know how the Rams secondary didn't get to that ball, to be honest with you.
Jay just threw that up off the back of his foot. Oh, my God. Some of it just, you can't make it up.
All right. So looking at the rest of it here, the Chiefs beat the snot out of the New York Jets, and Ryan Fitzpatrick Dream 6 interceptions.
The Jets not even able to get a touchdown yesterday, which I found a little tad bit puzzling. There was some frustration going on out there. I told you this game reminded me of UT Florida.
Yeah, it did.
It ended up looking kind of similar. Well, not really, because Kansas City didn't even have it at all, but it did somewhat look like the UT Florida thing. This was a dangerous game yesterday. You just sometimes when a team looks so wounded and so down, another team. And guys, this love affair with Fitzpatrick, you guys are acting like Fitzpatrick been in the league 2 years, was absolutely dope, couldn't get a contract with his team, and it came to the Jets. Fitzpatrick been in the league for a minute. He was in Buffalo, a couple other spots, and got moved.
Yes, very good point. So I think right now we're going to bring in my caller, Mr. Big Splee. What's going on, man? Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Oh, we're good. We're licking our wounds over yesterday.
Rough day.
Exactly.
A lot of people took it, had a bad day. I know with us, we had Cincinnati in a pretty big money line parlay that towards the end of the game they figured out a way to lose it. We were hanging in there, and then they gave up the 2 touchdowns at the end that hurt us really bad. So
yeah, it's all good.
Every other play on card won, but that one. But
got it.
That was a big play. So
What's going on, man?
Nothing much. He's a Dream.
Yeah, what's up, brother?
How you doing, man? So, sorry about last week, guys. I had a situation come up that was unavoidable.
Oh, good.
Ended up at the hospital in the middle of the night with a dead phone, so it didn't work out too well for me.
It happens. Well, you know what? I go to my office. I go to my office this morning. Things happen all the time. I go to my office this morning, and sure enough, my internet is down on the entire block. Everybody's internet is down. I'm
Okay.
like banging on doors like, you guys got internet? They're like, nope. I'm like, oh, great. So I had to come back to my house. That's why we got a late start today. But you know what? We did not take a break. We went right into your segment because we wanted to. And just tell everybody, in case we have some new listeners, who you are and what you do, please.
Well, I'm basically follow a statistical and probability system, and it puts out plays in a chase format in sports. I look at sports as a means for investment, as a means for an additional resource of income. I don't treat sports as just something to do on a Sunday or a Monday evening or something. I treat it as something that I want to create additional profit and net worth for myself. Very responsible gambler. I track everything I do. If I put it out, I make sure it goes on my record exactly how I put it out. On 2 years, we're looking at about 240% increase on our money. There are hiccups in the road. There are ups and downs, without a doubt. But in the end, if you do exactly what I say, you guys will make money. And it might be a slow growth, maybe a little bit slower than you'd like. But it's all about consistency. It's all about doing what you're told, and it's also about not playing when we don't have a play, which is a huge part of the process, And if you do things right and you do them exactly how I say, you can make a lot of extra money. And that's what I kind of look at sports as. A lot of people in the industry, they look at just I'm just playing to have some fun. Be a little bit more serious than that. Look at it as something that you want to do to make some extra net worth for your family, and it's definitely a good thing to follow. I've been following it for 7 years. I've been public for 2 years, giving out my system, and it's been really beneficial for those that are following me. So, I had a member ask me yesterday. They emailed me. I asked a lot of my members that I don't have a website. I don't have fancy stuff. All I do is I just basically put out my pick by email, and I collect money through PayPal. That's as simple as I keep it. And that's the way I like it. I don't want to have big websites. I don't need all that fancy stuff and high sales pitch stuff. I basically believe that my product should sell itself. And I had a member yesterday emailed me asking me. They said they had deposited $5,000 into a bank account. They had, started out with $1,000, and he had seen the system since January or February. I can't remember on his email, and that he was looking to step it up. He had seen the system produce for a good few months, and now he's wanting to invest. And if I had any advice for him, the only advice that I could give you is do exactly what you're told. Don't deviate from the program. Stay consistent. Don't bet too much on one play. When I hit a few in a row, 4, 5, 6 in a row or something like that, don't get excited and say, I need to bet 20% of my bankroll because Big Splee's on fire and he never loses. That's not going to happen. Losses are going to come. The most important thing for you to do is to remain consistent. Never leverage your bankroll in such a way that it's risky and it can cause you to be set back in such a way that you can't have the means to continue on with the system, because then you're just setting yourself back. So biggest thing is to have a large bankroll and use a small portion of that bankroll to fight the book. And that just means that if you have $1,000, try to bet to win $50 on each play that I put out. If you have $3,000, try to go to win about $100 a play. We're progressive betting, so initially guys that come in that are not used to progressive style wagering, they come in and they want to hit, say your normal wager is $100. Well, on a progressive system, we might have to chase that up to 3 or 4 games in a row. Yeah. If you're used to betting $100, you should probably lower your wager down to like $20 to $50, because now you're progressive thinking, and you got to think that maybe I don't win this in tier 1, I might win it in tier 2, 3, or 4. We don't go past tier 4. If we do, it's a spot bet and it's a one-time deal, but typically it's tier 1 of 4, so we're going to chase the game up to 4 times in a row. So if you're used to a $100 wager, scale that back, because in your mind you got to prepare yourself to go all the way through the wager. If you play tier 1 for 100 and then, you know what, I'm going to scale back on tier 2 and I'm going to play for $50, well, you're $50 in the hole. You didn't play it right. You have to play each and every set exactly how you're told to play it, regardless of win or loss, and just rely on the system and trust the system. And even when you take a loss, trust the system and say, you know what, I took a loss. You know what, every stock you buy in your portfolio didn't make money. Some of them dip. And that's just the fact. I mean, there's no way around it in anything in life. You're going to have some losses. The thing is if you're responsible enough to sustain those losses and not have those losses put you out of business. Now, if you strategize and use your bankroll in such a responsible and consistent way, you'll never have that problem where you bankrupt yourself with the system. And typically most guys that I find that come onto the system, they'll come on and they'll profit from the get-go. We've had a little bit of a rough patch. We hit 51 in a row. Kansas City last week kicked us all in the cojones with 4 losses or 5 losses in a row that they had, and it cost us a loss. That was about a 12% decrease in bankroll. On the winning streak that we had with 51, we went over 60%. So we still gained a net of around 48% profit in the 3 months, even with the loss. So it's still a good system. You just got to stay consistent, and you'll grow if you really buy into it and tracking everything you do. In the end, you'll look at your I like to look at it over 6 months and say, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is where I was in June. I usually do it in June and January, and I say, well, this is how much I've grown, and I've always grown. So every 6 months, if you look at my original amount to where I'm at today, every 6 months, if you were to do that, I've always grown. Knock on wood, I haven't had a 6 month period where my bankroll balance went in reverse. I haven't had that happen to me yet. So that's the key. You know, with the member that emailed me yesterday asking about how to strategize and how to actually make money at this business. I think the biggest thing is consistency and discipline within your own self and not doing stuff that's outside the system. So,
all right.
But we had a good day yesterday. We hit Jacksonville, Indianapolis. Were 2 really good plays. Like I said, the Cincinnati play, man. We only had them on the money line. I can't believe at the end of the game, they just fell apart, didn't they?
They did. Big Split, let me ask you a question. What do you tell a client, let's say the system pulls up like Cleveland and your client is looking at you like, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it happens.
No, I know. That's why I'm asking the question. What do you tell a client in that type of situation?
Well, a lot of them say, you're a professional handicapper. How in the world would you recommend me taking such a horrible team?
Sure.
And the fact of the matter is, and a lot of people forget this, is even though each and every one of these teams, in specific the Browns organization, I believe, is a failing organization, and it typically starts at the top, ownership down, that they just don't know how to build a winner. But what happens is Vegas. We got to remember that Vegas has to take all the action. When they open the book, they open everything. There's not a wager on the market that they can say, you know what, we're not going to take that because they're the Cleveland Browns. The book doesn't have the privilege of doing that. The player has the privilege of picking and choosing. So I believe that the only strategy that Vegas can have that can make that an even playing field on horrible teams, like you're saying, is they set traps for them. And you got to look for. I look for probability and historical trends with the way that the NFL sets lines. It can get a little complicated and kind of hocus pocus with a lot of cappers, but you basically, on mine, is I manipulate the line. I always manipulate the line. I will never stay on Vegas' line. You guys have probably been in the business a long time, and most of you guys that listen right now have been in the business a long time and know that Vegas is very accurate with their lines. So to stay on a line I think is a foolish decision. So I typically buy off the line. And then in the end, we got to remember that each and every athlete that steps on the floor, even if he's playing for the Cleveland Browns, he's got an end game. It's almost a selfish environment because he's thinking, hey, this is my career, and I'm not stuck with the Cleveland Browns. So I might be able to go and get me another job with the Philadelphia Eagles, or I can go get on with the G-Men, or I can go get on with the Niners or something. So a lot of those players that step on the field, even though they're playing for the Cleveland Browns, they still have a desire to win. And you couple that desire to win with the fact that a lot of the public keeps fading a certain team, then Vegas is going to set a trap to where you're going to bet against that team, they're going to cover.
Yeah.
And that's what I typically tell them. I say, you know what, Vegas, be on the side of Vegas on a few of these games on bad teams. And, historically, you're going to be fine. How many times has a team not covered 7 spreads in a row in the NFL? And then if you manipulate those spreads by 1 point, how many didn't cover in the NFL? If you look into that information, you'll see a lot of trends there. Just with that information is how many people that don't cover 7 spreads in a row. Like, look at Bookie Killen. He went 216-15 this year. And I've seen you go after Bookie Killen, which it's hard to understand, hard to explain chase systems on Twitter, because when you say I'm 215-16, you're like, yeah, sure you are. I believe you. Well, it's in complete sets. It's in complete chasing of a play. And all he's doing is one simple thing. He takes a team that's swept, and if they come off a sweep, or if they come off of sweeping a team, he's going to start fading them in baseball. Okay. He does the same thing in the NBA. He'll wait for a team to not cover 4 spreads in a row where all impact players have played, and he'll start fading that team after they've not covered 4 spreads in a row. So he bets not necessarily on one game. He's betting against a series of events happening. He's betting against, hey, you know what? Let's bet that this team's not bet against this team not covering 7 spreads in a row. What's the likeliness of that happening? Well, then you start looking back through history, and there might be only a few 4 or 5 teams over a period of a 10-year period that haven't covered 7 spreads in a row or something like that. There's different scenarios out there, different filters that you can use with stats and probability. Then it doesn't matter what side you're on. If you're on a crappy team or if you're on a good team, that's irrelevant to me. It's all about probability on where they're setting the line and what impact players have played in the games and all that information. So I could care less. I just think in the end, they're all professional players, Dream. When they get on the field, they all have more pride than anybody else in the stadium, because you don't get to that athletic level of competition unless you have a drive in you like no other. Even if you're a Cleveland Brown, you're still a professional athlete. And that's what a lot of people get lost in translation, is like, man, they're just shitty Browns. I can't bet on them. Well, they're all professional athletes, and today's the day that a lot of people are going to bet against them and lose. So those situations happen. So
all right, and you know what? Cleveland Dream did cover the spread yesterday, by the way.
Oh no,
just saying.
I beat him up pretty badly for about 15 minutes there, huh?
Yeah, all good. So
it's another bunch of pretty bad professional athletes.
Yeah, right. And don't forget the home team underdogs on primetime, by the way.
But you can't forget that.
But you can't forget that, guys. You're listening to Big Splee right now from Twitter, Big Splee. And what is your email, Big Splee, for people to get in touch with you?
I'm at BigSpleePicks@yahoo.com. BigSpleePicks@yahoo.com. Now, like I said, if you do what I say, if you follow what I say, you'll definitely make money with me. I track everything I do. I'm 100% transparent. I'm always honest. And I feel like I beat that into people's head. I put it on my Twitter page, on my little home page there, that if you ever catch me lying, I'll delete my account. And I stand by that. I see a lot of people. You guys had I'm going to call him a douchebag because that's kind of what he is. I'm not going to say his Twitter handle. His SP is his abbreviation or initials. He came out and called me a dishonest, lying capper and all this on the internet. And I think on my last interview, I actually had a couple of people come out and say, "Hey, you're a liar. You haven't won these many in a row, and you haven't done this, you haven't done that." And I put it on my page that if you ever catch me a lie, I'll delete my account. On my account, I don't do that. Everything I do is above board. And when SP started going around talking about on the Twitter about me, I said, you know what? I'm gonna add you to my plays for 6 months, and you're gonna track every single play for 6 months. I'm gonna do that free of charge. That's $600 value to me. I said, and in the end, if I make you money, I want you to shut your mouth and never talk about me on Twitter again. And that's the thing I did with him. After 6 months, I gave him my entire football. And you know who you are, SP. You listen to the show every single day. I said, I'm going to add you to 6 months. I said, if I don't make you money, you can tell the whole world I didn't make you money. I said, but if I do, you have to put out a tweet that Big Splee is making money. Cool. And he did. And he did a stupid little tweet. And he actually hit me with. He told me told me a week ago that Indianapolis is going to play the Minnesota Vikings in the Super Bowl, and to parlay those two teams together at plus 23,000 or something like that. That's not looking too well right now, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, this is Big Splee Picks.
Vikings and Indy, but I don't think they have a chance.
Well, Vikes are 3-0, so that you never know. So, guys, Big Splee is on the line right now.
AP and Teddy.
Yeah, exactly. Big Splee is on the line right now. Big Splee, thank you so much for joining us, and we very much appreciate it.
Definitely.
Have a good one.
All right. Sounds good. All right, Dream, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back, and we will get into what's going on in tonight's Monday Night Football game.
Looking to win big this football season? Go to smpicks.com, the #1 sports expert in picking winners. Everyone wants that winning edge. At smpicks.com, you'll get 30 years of experience in picking big winners on all sports with our team of experts. At smpicks.com, it's all about being a winner. Owner Scott Matthews just can't see it any other way. Visit right now at smpicks.com and receive your first huge winner on us absolutely free. That's right, all listeners receive your first huge winner on us, Scott Matthews, a great American. It's absolutely free. That's right, free just by registering at smpicks.com/SBTV.
Hey, sports fans, football season is here, and it's time to get in on the action with MyBookie.net. MyBookie.net is the first and only sports action website with real Vegas odds and incredible player props for all your favorite sporting events. The best part is there are no sign-up fees and no deposits required to join, play, or win. From pro to college football, MyBookie.net lets you play online and win big. There's no better time to join MyBookie than today. Go online to MyBookie.net to open an account to start playing with the big boys. MyBookie has proven to be the most exciting online experience for all sports fans. Get in on the action. Visit MyBookie.net today. Call 844-722-2387. That's 844-722-2387. Or visit MyBookie.net today. MyBookie.net is the real deal. Only the biggest, only the best, only at MyBookie. Sign up today. No deposit necessary. Terms and conditions apply. Play for fun only. Void where prohibited.
DigitalMuscle.com, the fitness industry's media hub. Home to the most knowledgeable, influential, and inspiring members of the worldwide fitness community. DigitalMuscle.com, the exclusive home of the Arnold Classic webcast, Pro Bodybuilding Worldwide Radio, and the new Digital Muscle blogosphere. Join us at the fitness industry's media hub, DigitalMuscle.com. DigitalMuscle.com.
Attention all sports bettors. FSN Info is the perfect place for you to make money today. They've just released another blowout winner, and it's available right now absolutely free on SBTVNation.com. FSN Info has 5 of the best experts in the world, known as the top 5 inner circle. With over 100 years of combined experience, their winning percentages are unmatched by anyone in the industry. This is the information the Las Vegas sportsbooks do not want you to have. Go to SBTVNation.com right now and click on Free Winner for your free blowout winner today.
Dream, we're back.
Yes, we are.
Monday Night Football. I think we need to have a conversation.
Have the conversation.
I think we need to talk about the New Orleans Saints as they are hosting the Atlanta Falcons tonight. Saints are -3 in this particular affair, and the under-over Dream is 54 points. Almost seems like a college total.
Almost seems like a college total. These guys are definitely know each other very well, these two teams. Play each other a lot, interdivisional, all that good stuff going on. Tonight's game should be interesting. We have seen the reemergence of Drew Brees. However, the defense is still an issue with the Saints. Defensively, they're not getting it done, which we knew that would probably be an issue this season anyway. The flip side of that, you look at Atlanta, and who is Atlanta? I mean, it's another one of those situations where you don't understand quite who this team is. Are they good? Are they bad? They're inconsistent. One week you think they're going to maybe go to the playoffs, and the next week you think they should trade everybody on the team. I just have never been able to figure out this Atlanta Falcon team. Obviously, we talk about Julio Jones being a dynamic receiver in that receiving core. We talk about Matty Ice being maybe a good quarterback. What's your thoughts on Matt Ice, Hat?
I think if I had to rate him 1 to 10, I'd give him maybe a 6.5 to 7.
Do you like better Andy Dalton or Matt Ryan?
Andy, no. I think Matty Ice.
Matty Ice better than Dalton?
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't that like they're almost like the same?
Very similar. Very
mean?
similar. Yeah, you definitely have that B tier quarterback.
Right.
And they are definitely a B tier quarterback, that's for sure.
Sure.
Moving on. So, you know what? And surprisingly, guys, listen, you're going to see, a lot of people are looking at this game, and a lot of people are looking at Atlanta scoring 29 points a game and giving up 29.5 points a game. But in this series, believe it or not, they've gone under, Dream. 5 of the last 7 games when these two teams have played each other, and they play each other a lot. They play each other twice a year. It's gone under in the domes. So that's something.
I remember. I could have sworn. I remember like some crazy score one year out of these two.
37-34 back in September of 2014. But before that, they've all gone under. The last game in Atlanta, New Orleans won. This was back in January, 20-17. Only 37 points scored in that game.
Sure.
And and then the one before that was 31-21. It was a push. It was at 52. So they've jacked this all the way up to 54. I know a lot of fantasy guys out there that are playing fantasy football have probably got a lot of players going tonight as far as this is concerned, expecting a track meet. But when you look at the trends, not so fast.
Not so fast.
Not so fast. So, Drew Brees did definitely emerge this year. He's looking pretty damn good. But the Atlanta Falcons, Dream, with 3-11 against the spread in the last 14 games and 3-8 straight up in their last 11. That is not a successful product that they're putting out there right now.
Not at all.
And Atlanta, when playing in New Orleans, are 1-4 straight up in the last 5 games. When you look at it here, passing New Orleans and Drew Brees, 333 yards per game they're passing. Matty Ice, 355 per game, Dream. This is a tough call. I think that this total is super inflated based on what they think is going to happen. And I think there might be a lot of people trying to pound this over. I would say not so fast. To be honest with you, I'd almost consider doing a teaser, maybe getting that up to like 61, 62 points and jumping on the under.
Man, when you look at the New Orleans Saints and you look at total yards allowed at 459 total yards.
That's like a college team right there.
All right, and then you flip the side thinking, all right, well, maybe it's a little bit better over here in Atlanta. By the way, Atlanta's like, hold on, we're going to catch you. All we need is 50 more. Give up 50 more yards, and we'll be right there with you. 412. The defenses are basically not going to even come.
I know. Exactly.
Be some guys out on the field, like on defense, but they'll be interested in watching the offenses. This looks like, it's got what looks like to be an offensively minded game. But here's the thing that Hat was talking about, because we talked about this before. They know each other so well, just like the Giants, Redskins, and a couple other teams that play each other so much, the 2 times every year. Then maybe you see each other in the playoffs. You just know, like they know their personnel as well as they know their personnel, which may, even though you see these crazy defensive numbers and yards allowed and all that great stuff, it doesn't happen in this situation because the teams just know each other so well. So I know Brees is going to this guy because that's what he does right here. So I'm not letting that happen. So very interesting matchup. I like Drew Brees' what he's been able to do this season so far successfully with his team on offense. Ingram, the running game is a sore spot as far as I'm concerned with the Saints. I'd like to see the running game get a little bit more, get going a little bit more. Even if they throw those short passes out of the backfield and some of the screens, you want to see that implemented in their running game and get that running game a little bit more. Snead has been a beast.
Yes.
For the New Orleans Saints, the absolute beast. He and Brees definitely have a great chemistry. Think he's become his favorite target. Picked up a little bit where Jimmy Graham left off. I really like the way Drew Brees and the offense has moved this Saint team this season.
Exactly. So looking at it here, and when you talk about teams that know each other pretty well, they play twice a year. And if there's super playoff situations, sometimes 3 times in a year.
Yeah.
So what happens is, let's say you're on the offensive or defensive line. You kind of know what your opponent's going to do, who they're going to throw against you. You know, it could be like one of three guys or something like that. You know their blitzing schemes. You know everything. So it gives you time to adequately prepare for it. And sometimes these games aren't that high scoring overall. So I'm just saying, be careful with that total of 54. I think I'm going to pump it up. I really do, Dream. Get it up to like 62, I think, 61.5. I like those 7.5 point ones. So that's where I'm looking at tonight. And if I lose, hey, I'll know why, because the defenses are absolutely pathetic out there.
Definitely.
Moving on. So are you taking a side here?
No, I'm not.
You don't like the game?
Nope.
It is an ugly game. Because this game can go either way, and you just don't know who the Saints are. Dream, you got a home team dog, or not a home team. You got a home team favorite here, but they're 0-2. Dream, they have to win a game,
and that's why, like I said, I don't. I can give you a bunch of arguments for Atlanta, and I can give you a bunch of arguments for the Saints. So this particular one, and based on the landscape of what happened, based on because I went to my computer last night to get onto my account, and there was a yellow crime scene tape around my account.
I'm sure a lot of people were, brother,
bludgeoned last night. So I'm gonna regroup and get back in the game next week. I don't love this. You know what I may do is I may take a look, see how it starts off, and maybe get a feel, maybe get a second half situation in or do some live work. But as far as taking a side early in advance, I don't like it.
Exactly. So, all right, Dream, moving on. Let's just have a conversation about some of the teams that are still alive in the Major League Baseball season. You know what? Sunday is the end of the regular season. This Sunday coming up. That's it, Dream.
I am planning a party.
You are planning a party, exactly. So we got to talk about the New York Mets. Obviously, very, very interesting situation here, guys. We all know of the unfortunate passing of Jose Fernandez, RIP, and thoughts and prayers are out to the friends and family and teammates of Mr. Fernandez. They're playing their first game versus the Mets. They got to host them in Miami tonight. So I would expect a very, very emotional scene there tonight, Dream.
Sure.
You got the New York Mets putting Bartolo Colon on the bump versus Adam Conley, and the Mets are favored minus 120 with an under-over of 8. You know what? There's just no way in hell I can ever even think of betting this game just because you just don't know what the psyche is of the players. Mostly Miami Marlins, but even the Mets. I mean, these teams play each other quite a bit. I'm sure they shook hands with Jose quite a bit, So this is a really tough situation. Guys, the Mets absolutely need to win. Right now they're in the driver's seat for the wild card, but anything could happen. And there's 6 games left. St. Louis can go on a tear and win 5 straight and kind of knock the Mets out, and so could the San Francisco Giants. So the Mets have to take all their emotions, put them aside, and get the job done tonight with Bartolo Colon. Dream, Bartolo has been the man.
Yes, he has. Big Sexy has been the man. And the Mets, still trying to make their way into the wild card as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're right now, they're in the lead.
I'm in the league. So, yeah, Bartolo's on the mound's been good. His numbers, gang, 14-7 with a 3.12 ERA. He's going, we know the Mets' road situation is a little bit not as good as their home situation. 39-36 on the road. The Marlins are 39-38 at home. Conley's going 8 for 6, 3.94 ERA. Don't know what you do with this game.
No, you can't. We're just talking about it because obviously, Miami's still alive for a wild card, but it's probably not going to happen. But when you look at what Bartolo has done in his last, 5 outings, he's only given up roughly about 6 runs, Dream. And versus the Miami Marlins, he only gave up 1 earned run in 7 innings, and the Mets got it done and won that game. This guy's pitching good, and Dan was even saying that he might be a Game 1 starter. That would be insane. Bartolo Colon on the bump, guys. Moving on to the next one, let's have a conversation about what the St. Louis Cardinals have. They have coming up, they have Cincinnati, the Reds coming into town. St. Louis just played last night, Dream, in Chicago, going down to back home, actually, versus the Cincinnati Reds. You got Tim Alderman versus Jaime Garcia. St. Louis minus 200 with an under-over of 8.5. They have to win this game, Dream.
Okay.
What do you got for numbers?
All right. Garcia is 10-12 with a 4.5 9 ERA. Alderman is on the mound for the Cincinnati Reds, 2-4 with a 4.06 ERA. The Cincinnati Reds are 28-49 on the road, and the St. Louis Cardinals are 38-41 at home.
We all talked about what happens when, you get these teams that played the night before on the road have to go back. I know it's not a huge flight for them, but, even still traveling home and now have to kind of, get their game face on and face the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds stink. I would expect St. Louis to get the job done tonight, Dream, to be honest with you. Jaime Garcia, up and down this year, but I think that they'll win the game. I really do. And I think they'll actually cover the run line. But I might get St. Louis minus the 1 run. I think that's what I'm going to do and kind of cut that juice down maybe to like a minus 150 or something like that. I think that's where I'm going to go tonight.
Okay.
All right. So other than that, I don't have any other spots as far. The San Francisco Giants are not playing tonight, guys. And when you look at the rest of it here, you've got New York, the Yankees at Toronto, J.A. Happ versus Luis Severino, and there's no line here yet. What do you got?
Hold on one second. Here we go. We've got Severino's on the mound for the Yankees. We know that the Yankees are 35-45 on the road, so they don't play well on the road. Keep that in mind, guys, if you're looking at this game tonight. Severino takes the mound 3-8, 5.70 ERA. Happ 20-4, 3.28 ERA.
Great.
That was 20-4. Yes. The Blue Jays are 45-32 at home. Let me repeat that one more time. 45-32 at home. This game, 7:07 Eastern Standard Time start in Toronto.
And the Yankees have just sputtered out of control. 2-9 in the last 11 games, Dream.
Yeah.
No good.
No good, player.
I would expect J.A. Happ to get it done. And
I would expect him to get it done, too. I mean, the Yankees, like you said, have sputtered. And let A-Rod get in.
Yeah, right. Get a little A-Rod out there. So that's pretty much going to do it for the baseball card, Dream. And that is going to be the conclusion of our program today. So we got a big game tonight. Got a couple of big games in the MLB and definitely some stuff out there for people to be wagering on. So, all right, Dream, what do you got to do to close out of here, my man?
Hey, I want to thank everybody who listened out there and the people that retweeted the show. We want to send out a big, big thanks to Mr. Big Split coming on today and gracing us with his presence, giving us a lot of information about that system that he uses because for some folks, it can be a little bit of a confusing system. And sometimes people do see his numbers. And I know because cats have DM'd me on the lower, hey, what was he talking about?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When you see that 215 and 8, you start, whoa. Thank you for coming on and explaining that, and I hope you guys were able to understand it. And if you're not, you can DM myself or you can DM him. Please DM him first because it's his system. But you can DM me too, as I understand a little bit of it. And just to explain to you, what he's talking about as far as his numbers are concerned. That being said, I want to thank my man Irvin out there. I want to thank OnlineSportBet.com, Terrence Max in the house, Jeff Ryan, OJFB's out there, Marlon, JC, Cash Action Bets, KMVU, Derry Bouchard, Vegas Grill 92661. Thank all you guys for retweeting the show. We've got so many more. I know some of you guys catch it later, don't get a chance. All good. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I'm the Dream. Always remember who you're with. Make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dream, we're going to close it out of here. We'll be back on Thursday, ripping it up for a brand new week of football, guys. If you got beat up this weekend, don't chase tonight. Just build it right back to where you were and then start it back up next week and rock and roll. We love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Happy Monday. Go out there and conquer the world and get that money. Let's go.